Hi, hello, welcome to the session. Today we'll discuss about server-side programming. Before getting into it, myself, Dr.Shivaranjani, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Application, handling Advanced Java Programming. So here we'll discuss server-side programming. A server-side programming is nothing but a combination of HTML, JavaScript, and DOM. DOM is nothing but a dynamic HTML. So in order to create web pages, so that web pages creation includes scripting language. So when you're designing a web page by using your scripting language, then it is called as a dynamic pages. And it is also a page called as a dynamic page is also available. A dynamic page is the one which will the content will be keeps on changing, whereas in the case of your static page, the web content or the content which has been available inside your web page remains constant. It will not be changed forever. So similarly, web server response can build either static or dynamic web pages. A static is nothing but a HTML document is retrieved from the file system and returned to the client. A dynamic is nothing but a HTML document is generated by the program in response to the HTTP request. So here, by using your servlet technology, you can able to produce a dynamic server, dynamic web pages. So a Java servlet is a technology which will help you to provide a dynamic server responses. A servlet is a Java class instantiated by the server to produce the dynamic responses. So this next is about the servlet overview. So it includes 4 steps. The first step is your HTTP request, that is Hypertext Transfer Protocol request. So that request will be from the client side. So by the help of your protocol called as HTTP protocol, the request has been transferred to the server. The server will accept the particular request, and it will send to a content component called as a servlet. So here the servlet will modify the response object, and it will search the corresponding request made by the client, and it will provide the response to the particular client from the server side. So this is the overview of your servlet programming. Overview of your servlet. When the server starts, it initiated the servlet. The server receives the HTTP request, determines the need for the dynamic response. The server selects the appropriate servlet to generate the response, create a request or response objects, and passes them to the method on the servlet instant. The servlet also added the information to the response object by the help of the method you're calling. The servlet generates HTTP response based upon the information stored in the response objects. So here this is the example which will explain how does this servlet will work it out. So just to display us a string called as hello world, the servlet program is being built. So here I have created a class called as a servlet hello. So that extends the concept of a class called as HTTP servlet. So all the servlets we write in, all we are writing are subclasses of your HTTP servlet. So the first thing is here you have used a function called as doGet. So this doGet is a one which will help you to get the request from the client. And the throw statement is used in order to throw the error connections. That is when the user is getting informations. In such case, if there is any problem has been encountered, then the throw will make an find out the error and throw the particular request or error response to the client. So here we'll make use of an interface implemented by the requested or response object. The first thing is you have to set the HTTP context type and in the response header. So for that I have used response.set contain type. Here I'm using text file or HTML file, and I'm using the characters set as UTF-8. And next one is you are going to print the particular object for the created body of the response. So for that I have used print writer servlet out equal to response dot get writer. So the do get will perform these two activities. So now in order to execute this hello servlet, you need a JWSGP Tomcat server. So that will provide an exception handling mechanism. So that will trace the writing a trace for the exceptions in your text file, that is your log file, and it returns the HTML page to the client that may or may not contain a partial exception trace. If the servlet prints a stack trace itself by calling a print stack trace, or if it writes a debugging output to the system.output or system.error statement can be used to display the error message. This output will be append to the file called as logs/launcher.server-log. So the next one is the program. Here the program first two thing has been done by the servlet. So the first one is you are getting the particular response from the client by the help of your HTTP content, and the next one is obtain and writing the particular content to the server. So now the corresponding HTML code, that is the body of the content, to be displayed on the dynamic web pages. So for that I have used an HTML command. So here in HTML command I am just giving the title of the particular web page as servlet hello, and in the body I have to want to display a message called as hello world. So this is the text I have to display on the particular created dynamic web pages. So this is the code which has been written inside your HTML code. So after that, the next thing is you have to close the servlet. So this is the one which will help you to close your servlet application, so that the client and the server can establish a communications, and it can transfer information simultaneously to the user. So the next is Java versus servlet applications. Servlet do not have a main. The main is in this server. So the entry point of the servlet is by the help of call method, that is by the help of do get. The servlet interact with the end user is indirectly by the help of request or response object API. Actually, HTTP request or response processing is handled by the server. Primarily, the servlet typically output is HTML. So the ways to running your HTML. The simple way to run your servlet is compile your servlet. You should make sure that JWSGP library is on their path. Then you have to copy .class file shared to the class directory. Then you have to start your Tomcat web server. Then if the class is named as servlet hello, then you have to, in a browser, you have to type http://localhost 8080/servlet hello. So this means you are invoking the servlet hello program inside your web browser to execute the particular program. So the next one is your dynamic content. The potential problem is assume one instance of the servlet on one server, but many websites are distributed over the multiple server. Even a single server can create a multiple instance of created a single servlet. Each, if the assumption is correct, this servlet does not handle congruent access properly. So this is the example where the dynamic content is being displayed. So in my program, what I have did in the sense, I've used a variable called as visit. So defaultly, I've set that particular visit of the particular variable as 0, because each time when a user is entering into the page, it has to increment the value of the visit. The number of time the user is entering to the particular website will be displayed by the help of this particular program. Then To obtain the printer write objects for creating the body of the response, I have used a printer writer servlet output. So that will help you to display the output on the dynamic window. Then each and every time it has to compute the number of visits to the URL for the servlet. So for that purpose, I have incremented the value of visit as I plus visit plus plus. So it means that once the user has entered into the website, it will be default, it will be 0. Once the user has entered into the particular web page, then it will be automatically incremented by 1. So this way, the number of visits to the particular dynamic web page content can be displayed to the user. So here in my program, I have used a paragraph. In that paragraph, I have display a content called as Hello World, and this page has been viewed. So once if you view the particular page, then it will be incremented by 1, and the time since the not recent server restarts. So this is the sample output of your dynamic content. So once I'm executing the particular page, it will be automatically incremented by 1, and again, if you are inserting entering the particular dynamic web pages, then the server start value will be incremented by the 4 times, and it has displayed the value as 4 because 4 times the user has entered into the particular dynamic web page. That's it. Thank you all. Hi, hello, welcome to the session. Today we'll discuss about server-side programming. Before getting into it, myself, Dr. Shivaranjani.